back to Dress Your Face Live. Sorry for the slight delay. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that it is time to get on, time to log on and get your questions in. I just made a post on my Instagram page. We are live. Ask your Q&A questions below. So basically, if you guys are new, that means I need your comments under that page, under that picture, so that I know what kind of questions you guys have so I can answer them in the meantime. Today's class is going to be a very special takeover. I've not done a takeover in a while, and I'm glad that I could actually be a part of this one. The last one, I wasn't there because it was all the way in New York, so I felt like I was really missing out. So this time, you know what? Let's take over. I'm here. I'm going to introduce him. So you guys can meet him and ask him all your questions too in a little bit. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions. I know a lot of you have so many questions about a lot of different things, whether it's hair, makeup, marketing, whatever it was. And sometimes I'm not able to answer all of them. So let's use this time for the next like 15, 20 minutes that I can help you guys out on anything that you need help with by answering questions until we're ready to get started for the takeover, okay? So I don't know if you guys saw my latest marketing class. If you haven't checked it out, please do. It is very, very informative. Whether or not you're a makeup artist, this marketing class helps you so much with like the basics of growing your own business. So even just as a non-business owner, just someone who wants to grow their own social media, that information is very, very valuable, and I highly recommend you watch it before it expires, okay? So go ahead and watch that, and if you have any questions about that stuff, I will be answering that right now too. So I'm gonna go ahead and refresh so we can get some of these questions going, and hopefully I answer your question. So Preet Sandhu is asking what my favorite cream contour palette is. And obviously I love Anastasia Beverly Hills, but I have to say I really like the fact that the Cinema Secrets foundation palettes are quite skinny, those little ones that only come with like 5 colors each. I have a lot of them and I stack them like really tight in my kit so that it doesn't take too much space and it's not like a big square, and that for me is really easy. Like I can just with one palette, just take the lightest color, do the highlight, the darkest color, do the contour, medium color, put the middle, and then blend it all, and it just looks amazing. So that's one of my favorite contour palettes. But yes, Anastasia Beverly Hills is really good. I mean, the size is not even that bulky. It's actually quite thin. It's very easy to carry. I don't even know why I'm complaining. It's good stuff. And the cool thing about that one is it does have like actual highlight tones, corrector tones, and contour tones. And the cool thing the reason why it has corrector tones is because instead of having to use something different to correct a dark circle, like an orange color, they actually have an orange, concealer within their contour palettes. So there's some that carry like a more orange tone, a more peachy tone, pinky, yellows, like all that. So good stuff. I would say those are my favorites. Gabby is asking what's my favorite makeup brand. I don't have a favorite. You guys know me. I like to pick and choose from a lot of different companies, and I'm all about, just giving a good test to certain products. And I don't really believe that there's like one brand that's really mastered every single thing on makeup. Like not even MAC. There's a lot of things at MAC that I don't like, and then there's a lot of things I do like. So I wouldn't say that there's one brand that's just like every single thing is like spot on, because everyone has their preferences. I have my preferences. But some of my favorites would, you guys would all know. I really like Anastasia Beverly Hills. I really like LA Girl Cosmetics, Girlactic, like a lot of these brands. MAC, of course. I'm a big MAC. I have a lot of MAC stuff. So I like to pick and choose. Curvy Desi Barbie says, what's your favorite highlighter on Indian skin? If you're asking about a cream highlight, if you have really tan skin, I would say either the natural, actually I would say Creamy Beige is one of my most used. It's the LA Girl Cosmetics concealer, and I use Creamy Beige a lot for my Indian skin tones. Even if they're a little bit tan, I just use a little less. And you could always mix it with NC42 from MAC, the Pro Longwear concealer, and it kind of warms it up a bit. So that would be a really good highlighter. And if you're talking about the shimmer highlight, I really love Girlactic Bronze. It's my favorite shimmer highlight. I really also love the Gerard Cosmetics highlighters. They are bomb. They're so full coverage, like, I mean, not full coverage, but like it shows a lot, so you don't need a whole lot to make a statement with your highlight. Dr. Francine is asking, what's the best thing to use to control oily skin and to keep that matte looking fresh finish to your makeup? So in order to prevent that greasy buildup and keeping your skin looking nice and fresh, there's a whole lot of products out there that can help. One of them would be just using a primer that's meant for oily skin, that's mattifying, and that says shine control, all that good stuff. But there's like a little secret item that some of us know about, some of you guys know about. I talked about it a couple months ago, but I haven't really mentioned it lately, so I guess I'll mention it again. Milk of magnesia is actually a laxative, I think, and you can find it at any drugstore. And it's like a milky, kind of creamy substance. And when you use it, someone tried it, I guess, back in the day and realized that it really controls oil production on the skin. So if you were to dip a cotton ball in that milky substance and put it all over your face and just air it dry, using that as a primer and then putting full coverage foundation over it to cover that white milky residue really helps with keeping your skin looking as if you just put makeup on, and none of your sweat or pores are gonna show through that. It's really, really an amazing technique, but you just have to make sure that you're using enough full coverage foundation over it, because sometimes you can see that white milky residue even when it's dry and everything. You don't necessarily want to rub it in all the way. You want it to be like a guard, like a shield. So full coverage foundation over that would be okay. When did you, wait, what? I just skipped it, what? Okay, only one Farah asks, when did you start doing makeup? I started doing brides and clients and friends like between the ages of maybe 14, 15 and up. Before that, I was just kind of doing like school dances, like little bits here and there. I didn't do makeup on myself. I never cared to do it on myself. I just did eyeliner. Like, I'm a half Indian girl. We all did eyeliner at a young age. It's just what it is. But I didn't really use lipstick or anything. I used lip gloss once in a while, but no foundation, none of that until like middle or end of high school. That's when I really started kind of playing with it. And even then, I was such a simple girl. I didn't even wear eyeshadow, like nothing. I was a very simple person. But doing it, I was really good at doing it on others. So I would do school dances, and I tried to get into the school theater thing and see if I could help with costume or stage or makeup, whatever I could possibly do. Not a lot of people wore a lot of makeup at that time, so it was very minimal. But professionally, I got licensed through the State Board of Cosmetology to do hair and cut and color and all that stuff. I started the school at age 17, and I got my license at 18. And I started working as a professional makeup artist at that same time, like a little bit before that. I went to the Makeup Institute in San Francisco, like when I was really young. Okay, someone's asking, okay, Catalina A. Torres is asking, how do you even use color correctors? So remember how I was talking about color correctors just a few minutes ago? She's asking, how do you even use it? When you are using a cream color corrector or any color corrector, you're just supposed to use a minimal amount just to balance out whatever color you're trying to correct. So let's say you're trying to correct a dark circle that has a lot of blue, green, purple tones in it. Then you would use an apricot or orange or reddish kind of a toned concealer to help cancel out that color. So basically, if you look at a color wheel and you're looking at, like, if there's certain colors of your face that are on one side of the color wheel, go to the opposite side of the color wheel, and that's the color that's going to correct it, to cancel it out. So if you're, if you're trying to cover a scar that's super red, then the opposite of red would be like green, like the balance between yellow and blue, the other primary colors. So green would be your corrector if you're covering like a acne mark that's still red or a fresh scar that's still red, use a little bit of green. If you're trying to cover, I guess, like dark circles, like I was just talking about, blue tones and bruised tones, then you would use the orange to combat that. And if you're too red, then you would, if you're like pinkish. When I say red, there's different shades of red. It can be very, very bright or more of a pinky tone. A lot of people, and I just said that you could use green to combat the acne, but some people who have like spread out rosacea here could also use a little bit of yellow. It'll just look a little bit more of the beige orange side. So green is still preferred, but yellow, in case you're wondering what the yellow is for, can also help with a little bit of that pinky tone as well. So what you would do is just put a little bit of that corrector color on and then kind of set it, like not with powder, but just set it into the skin by flatly pushing it in. If you guys have seen some of my tutorials, you know what I mean, like stippling. And then you can put on your regular color foundation or concealer or whatever over it just to hide that yellowness or to hide that orange or whatever you're trying to use. Hide that with your beige tone, and then you just set with some powder, and then you won't even be able to tell that the color originally that's on your skin is even there. Pearlizzle _ is asking, Trust Your Face, what advice would you give to people who want to start a makeup page but are scared of judgment by other people? That's just one of those things that just come with the territory. I try my absolute best, even my husband tries his best to help me with this, to monitor my page and make sure that people are being nice to each other. But there are times where things just get out of hand and I just have to delete the whole post, or sometimes I won't even notice because I've already 3 posts down the road and someone's hating on an old post or whatever. People are gonna judge. Let them judge. Your job is to create. You create the best stuff that you can possibly create, the best content you can create, the best posts, the best pictures, the best looks for your brides. Whatever you're creating, create the absolute best. And if people are still gonna judge you and hate on it or whatever, let that just roll off your shoulder, honey, because their opinions honestly do not matter. They are not paying your paycheck. You are paying your paycheck as your own boss, as a makeup artist. Or if you're working for a company, you are represented by them, they are represented by you, and so you have your community to back you up. As far as these little haters, quote unquote, trolls, quote unquote, whatever they are, bullies on the internet judging, they're never gonna stop. No matter what we do to try to explain to them that they're being mean, they could care less. They're looking for an outlet to just talk. And then sometimes it really helps me, like if I'm hearing something that's just, oh my God, ridiculously like horrible, and I just don't know like how to even react to that. Usually your job is to not react. You don't want to, you know, spend time commenting back or anything. The easiest thing to do is just delete and block them, or just delete the comment if it's bothering you. But sometimes it helps to put yourself in their shoes, and you never know what battles they're facing in life. Maybe they're just looking for an outlet to talk shit on because they're not happy in their life, or something's going on that's really unfortunate for them. And the best thing you can do is honestly just pray for them. As cliche as that sounds, they may be going through something really tough. So instead of creating a bigger, huger drama out of it, delete and block and just get them out. You don't want any negativity and some residual hate going on the page. As far as judgment, like I said, everybody's going to judge. Everyone has eyes, everyone has opinions, everyone's going to judge. Whether they show it on social media or not is their call. And if they do show it on social media, just remember it is your page and you do have the right to remove them. And then no one can get mad because it's your page. So that's kind of how I think of it. But just grow a thick skin. Like in the beginning when people were talking crap, I would get hurt. We're all human. It hurts our feelings. And we're like, oh my God, am I really that redundant? Or am I really that blah, 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 or whatever? But you have to remember that you have so many more supporters than you do have haters and people who wish bad upon you. You have so many more people who wish good upon you. Your parents, your families, your friends, your clients, your fans that are following you. These people who choose to follow you are obviously affected by you in a good way. And if some of them choose to turn their corner and be bad, then it shouldn't be, you shouldn't take it personal. Let's see. Okay, So Sana Mish is asking, how do you prevent creasing under the eye area, under eye circles? So creasing under here with the concealer. Mine starts showing up after 20 minutes of makeup application. Help. So extra powder usually definitely helps. You seem like a young girl with no like major wrinkles or anything, so just apply a lot of powder after you put on your concealer so that it doesn't allow your concealer to remain wet and just swoosh around. You don't want your anything wet to remain on your skin. You want everything to feel dry so that it doesn't have the opportunity to slide around. When makeup is still wet or just not set with enough powder, what happens is it gets wetter and wetter, and it's very flexible. So as you're blinking and as you're smiling and like moving your eyes, naturally we have, you know, folds in our eye, and they are gonna crease either way, but it'll crease a lot less and a lot later if you put a lot of powder on under your eyes. And the type of powder really does matter. A lot of people use translucent powder, and I am just not a fan of translucent powder. I don't think it does anything. I think if it does anything, it doesn't last. So my way of doing it is with Studio Fix powder or any powder that has a lot of coverage in it. Estee Lauder Double Wear is a great one. Lancome Dual Finish is a good one. Any powder that says it's a foundation powder in one is usually going to be a full coverage. And what you can do is put a very thin layer of concealer and then a thick layer of that powder, and it'll the proportion is going to be different. So the ratio is going to be less cream, more powder, and therefore it'll be less of a chance for it to be moving in the lines and all that stuff. You will be a little drier and it'll be a little bit better. Elena Magolnik is saying, I feel sometimes the highlight makes the skin look ashy in pictures and there's not enough color on the face, making the person pale. How do I avoid that? Try a highlight that has a lot of orange or bronze tones in it. So I'm not talking really about a bronzer with shimmer. I'm talking about a highlight with orange or bronze color in it. So like I was saying, Girlactic Face Glow in bronze is a great highlight because it has that shine. It's great for right here, but it's not super white or pale, so you won't look pale or anything in pictures. Another thing is make sure that when you are doing your highlight, you're also doing a lot of contour and bronzing everywhere else. So adding a little extra warmth and bronzer everywhere else on your face, and just on the high cheekbones and the T-zone, adding a little bit of that light bronze highlight is gonna help you look a little bit more bronzy tan with a strong highlight rather than pale with an even lighter highlight. Hope that makes sense. So just go warmer with your colors, and that can definitely help. So Makeup by Nessa XO is asking, what is the best setting spray you recommend? I actually don't use a setting spray. My girls kind of just always look flawless without any setting spray. It's the technique, it's the products we use, but it's also the technique of pushing it in. It just lasts all day and all night. Like, you can sleep in it and wake up looking the same. I don't recommend that because you will break out most likely, because skin needs to breathe. But as far as like setting sprays, the only one that I would even like give a second thought to is the Scandinavia, which is, I have the primer spray of Scandinavia, which works pretty well. It's like oil-free, oil control primer. It feels really nice. So that, I don't know if it could work as a setting spray, but I guess you could try it. I like Scandinavia, but I'm not an avid user of sprays. Just never caught on to that. Okay, so there's a lot of product questions, so I'll get into those in a little bit. Someone's asking, okay, Jazeera Makeup is asking, when I watched your Bollywood makeup class, I saw you put cream over powder around your mouth after the lipstick. Is that okay to do that to a client, cream over powder? Thank you. I've always taught not to use any cream products over powder products because it can get a little muddy. Like once you do all your creams, then you do all your powders, and you don't go back to cream. The part that I used cream was after I had done the lips, I wanted to clean up around the edges because it still looked a little hazy. I wanted that sharp line. So in that case, yes, you can use a little bit of a cream concealer, just very lightly around the edges of the mouth, and then with the flat side of the brush, blend it into the rest of the mouth. And then you can go in, if it still feels a little wet, I did it very thin, it felt pretty dry, but if it still feels a little wet, go back in with whatever's left from your powder brushes and just dust it on and you should be okay. It won't gum up that bad. Actually, it won't gum up at all. But I meant that like cream products as in like a cream blush. After you've done all that highlighting, contour, and shimmer and all that with powders, if you're going to go in with a cream blush, it may not grab as well and it may not last as long because you're using a wet product over a dry product and it can create this slush. So that's usually not a good idea, but around the lips is okay as long as you're using it minimally. Okay. Ooh, I'm getting some cool feedback from my DYF students. Thank you. I'm glad you guys are my students. Makeup by Jossie, J-O-C, Jocelyn. Okay, so makeup by Joss. What products do you recommend for photography? Products that won't flash back. So as long as they don't have SPF, they won't flash back. Also, for photography, I love full coverage product. I'm not really into sheer stuff. I don't want it to look that natural. I just want it to look flawless, like mannequin flawless. So if for photography, you can use stage makeup. Graftobian, Cinema Secrets, Ben Nye are awesome. They don't have any SPF in them. There's no flashback. It's just pure perfection. Really good stuff. Okay, Bel Air fan is asking what colors of Studio Fix powder do you recommend for a kit? In my kit, I have NC15, NC20, NC25, NC40, NC42, NC45, and W43, and I think NC55 or NW55, I forget. There's some really dark ones. And W58 is my darkest. It's super dark. It's probably their darkest. I'll say the list again of the main ones. I highly recommend, like if you do clients that are like my skin tone, the ones that you're really gonna use the most is like NC25 for the highlight zones, NC40 for the medium zones, and NC42 for the darker zones, or like NC43 for the darker zones, or NC45, depending on how dark you really wanna go for the contour. And then you can use the Anastasia contour kit, the powder one, to just really refine and go nuts. But if you're working on someone lighter than me, you'll need the NC15s and 20 just to have lighter colors in your kit. And if you're going to do people darker than me, then you'll need to go into the 50s to cover that. But only like not every color, not even every other color. I mean, just the basics. You could always mix them, but the main color, you have to kind of figure out who your client is and what the main ethnicity that you're working with are. I work with all ethnicity, so I have to have all colors in my kit. I don't want to be stranded somewhere and be like, oh crap, I didn't bring this. So I have all the colors in my kit that I listed. But if I'm doing like an Indian wedding and I know everyone's going to be Indian, if I'm told that everyone's going to be Indian and if I have to travel for it, I'll just travel with my mediums, my light to medium to tan, but not super light and not super dark. Okay. Okay, so Makeup by Med T is asking, are there any products that you would not waste your money on? There are plenty of products I wouldn't waste my money on, but okay, I'll give you guys a little background on why I don't really buy a whole lot of product. Number one, I'm not into gimmicky stuff. I love, okay, for the record, I love Ben Nye products. I think they are bomb. My favorite thing from Ben Nye is the Ben Nye Matte Foundation. Superb. I mean, I wore it to Anastasia's tea party a gazillion years ago when we first met, and it was like scorching outside, and I would have to say, while everyone's face was melting, mine was still on point because I use Ben Nye Matte Foundation. Also, I have dry skin, so it usually holds pretty well. But in the major heat, usually I get maybe a little shine or a little buildup around here. No buildup. I looked exactly the way I did when I first entered the party. That's how I looked when I was leaving the party, and it was super hot. Super scorching sun, bam, right in your face in Beverly Hills, and it was insane. but my makeup lasted, and that was my ultimate test for Benign Matte Foundation. So then I took it with me to a couple of Mexico trips when it was like in the middle of late summer, nasty, humid air, and it worked there too. So I gotta say I love Benign, but the Benign Banana Powder is so overrated to me. If you guys are using it, you're liking it, feel free. Continue using it. You obviously, you know, have found your way to use it, and it obviously works for you, so I would never tell you not to. But for those of you who've tried it and are just not getting it right, don't beat yourself up over it. I could not stand it. I tried it in every way. I tried it wet, I tried it dry, I tried it with sponge, my hands even, like really thick. I tried it with brushes, I tried it with everything, and my God, I just realized how much I love Studio Fix powder so much more that I bought a big old jar of it too, and I literally used it for like a week just to try different ways of using it, and nothing worked out for me. One of the things I noticed about it is that its number one ingredient is talc, so it's super dry. So when I would use it, even when I would use it wet or over oily foundation, it would feel like it's cracking. Like it would even look quite dry and cracking, like a dry desert. Like I couldn't handle it, so I put it away. It's hibernating. I don't know what I'm going to use it for. But actually, I had a few students that used it in class and it looked fine. But, you know, of course, it depends on a whole lot of things. Like, I mean, I tried using light amounts, crazy amounts. One thing I realized was the banana color from Anastasia, the compact one, I really liked. So I'm thinking that my issue with it truly is the fact that talc is the number one ingredient of it, and that it is a loose powder, and I'm not into loose powders at all. Like I said, I don't like translucent. I like full coverage, heavy cake on cake on cake. So I gravitate towards pressed panned items rather than loose items. So that's one that I wouldn't waste my money on again. Also, let's talk about eyeshadow palettes for a minute. I was never the girl to really buy eyeshadow palettes. So many times, more than half the shades of the eyeshadow palettes, I would never even touch. I would buy the eyeshadow palette literally for like 3 colors or 2 colors or less. So after I bought like my first like Urban Decay palette, I realized I never even opened it. I just liked it so much, it was pretty, and I literally never opened it. I think I still even have it and I never opened it. I should totally sell it. Just kidding, I'm not, I'm gonna keep it. But anyway, it made me realize that I'd rather just make my own palettes of colors that I would really love. So then I started going to MAC and just kind of building my own palettes instead of buying pre-made palettes. Even though pre-made is always a better deal, making your own, you'll get the most use out of it. So that's obviously going to be the better deal in the long run, is buying products that you're actually going to use instead of buying a really cool package and then not even using it. Unless it becomes a collectible item, then that's kind of cool. I mean, that's why I made the colors I made in the Anastasia Tamana palette, because I'm the most pickiest girl when it comes to palettes. Can I tell you, I didn't even buy the Urban Decay Naked palettes. I did not buy not one makeup palette, Naked palette. And I didn't even get like any of those Smashbox palettes. I didn't buy anything really for the last gazillion years. So when I made my Tamana palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, I hate talking about it because I feel like it's such a tease. Like, you can't even get it anymore, and I feel really bad talking about it, but I'm just using it as an example. I obviously picked and choose, like, I chose every color in there. I created it. Like, Anastasia's lab obviously physically created it. But I was very picky on choosing the type of colors, the texture, the amount of pigment, all that stuff. So that was based on my needs for my clients, for myself, for my students. And I got the most use out of every single color. Every single color of those pans are done. I'm already on to my second, third palettes. That's insane. And most of my students feel the same way. Those are colors that you actually can use. So if you find a palette out there that you think you're actually going to use every single color, okay, fine. Not every single color. At least 75% of that palette, if you could legitimately use and continually use 75% of that palette, okay, fine. It's a good buy because it's going to be discounted. You know, the Tamana palette was $29. Come on. Now it's being sold on eBay for like, how much? Like $200 bucks? $200 on eBay, and it was $29. I should have gone into the eBay business. I should have bought all of my Tamana palettes and then sold it on eBay. Never mind. So anyway, with that said, I need you guys to just understand that, you know, the whole palette craze, that's really cool. It's cool collecting. If you're a collectible, you know, you're into the collectibles things, like I have every single Anastasia palette. Obviously, we are partners in crime. Like, I fully support Anastasia. She fully supports me. I get her stuff and I use it. But before that, I really just never cared to collect palettes. Lorac palette is really good though. I have to say, when they gave me theirs, the Lorac Unzipped Gold, I actually threw it in my kit right away and I use it all the time. Especially since my palette is like running out and I don't have a whole lot of extras for me. It's long gone. I have been using that Lorac Pro and I really, really love it. It's really good for that bronze, golds, rose gold, like all those colors are in there, including some chocolatey browns. Decadent. I love that one. So yeah, I wouldn't waste my money on too many palettes unless you're into the whole collectible thing. Like I love when I see businesses that actually know about, quality of colors and stuff like that. And if the colors are actually useful, I'm all for buying those. It's so much easier having palettes. But, if you're just collecting palette after palette, and if you're noticing that all these palettes look very similar, then save your money. Make sure if you're going to buy a palette, make sure the colors are different from each other, and make sure you're going to use them. I was going to say something and I completely lost track of what I was going to say about a palette. There was a palette that I really wanted to talk to you guys about. Oh, the new Anastasia's Shadow Couture palette looks really good. I swatched it. It's really, really nice. And of course the Lorac Pro Unzipped Gold is really good, like I said. Maybe in the future I'll try to make my own cosmetic line and create another type of Tamana palette, but until that day comes, just focus on things that you like and you'll actually get use from. Let's move on, shall we? I want to answer something that a lot of people have been asking. A lot of people are asking about what are the best translucent powders. I can't even answer that because I hate translucent powders, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And a lot of people are asking about their dark circles, and I answered it in the beginning. You got to use an orange-based concealer to really cover dark circles, and that orange has got to be like dark enough and rich enough. If you have dark circles, it's got to be dark. You can't use a light color over a dark circle. It's going to turn gray. That's not the way to go. You want to go like a deeper orange and then cover it up with your actual skin color foundation or concealer, and that should do the trick. But you put plenty of powder over it so it doesn't move around. Sahari_07, do you speak Farsi? I understand Farsi. I speak conversational Farsi. Not the best, but I try, and I'm married in Afghan, and I try to speak to his parents, my lovely in-laws, in Farsi as much as I can. I struggle, but I think I'm pretty good. Maybe I'll talk to you guys in Farsi on Snapchat one day, just so you guys can judge my language complexity. All right, hubby says I'm not that bad, so I guess I'm not that bad. Okay, Patootie K is asking, can you do contouring when you use a tinted moisturizer? Absolutely. You can do contouring whenever the heck you want. So let's say you put a tinted moisturizer on. That's meant to look very natural, right? So I'm assuming that you're talking about a very natural contour. You can just use a little bit of setting powder all over the face and then use a darker setting powder just to contour the edges of your face and call that a contour. That's kind of like a bronzing technique of contouring. So it's not really creating lines everywhere. It's just shadowing with a little bit of bronzer on the cheekbones to create a very natural contour. You can also highlight by adding a little bit of a shimmer product right on the cheekbones, do the little strobing technique, which is basically just the same as highlighting, right on the cheekbones and the peak of the face bones, and that will be your contour and highlight with a tinted moisturizer instead of using heavy makeup. Let's see. I'm getting kind of the same questions over and over, so I don't want to keep answering those same questions over because you're about to, this is recorded, so you'll see the recording online when we upload it, so you'll see those answered in the recording. Someone's asking, Face with like a gazillion E's at the end is asking, just your face, can a BB cream be used as a concealer under the Studio Fix? If your BB cream, if you're talking about a corrective concealer and if your BB cream has a corrective color, absolutely. But usually BB creams are not that full coverage, so it may not even correct that much. And to be quite honest with you guys, I very rarely use a corrective product. I have them in my kit just in case, but I usually use such full coverage foundations that it covers everything anyway, and I don't even need to like color correct. It'll just cover everything. So again, Studio Fix foundation is pretty full coverage. Studio Sculpt is a buildable, full coverage. Pro Longwear is also pretty full. Cinema Secrets, Ben Nye, Graftobian, they're all full coverage products, especially the last three I was talking about, the stage makeup. So it's super full coverage. You don't need any type of correcting under it because it'll cover everything. Like literally, tattoos will be covered with that stuff. So Caroline's_beauty is asking, what primer leaves your skin glowy and makes your foundation dewy? Here's the thing. A lot of primers have that like strobe effect. MAC has strobe cream. A lot of primers have shimmer in it. BB creams sometimes have shimmer in it. Bronzing shimmers, things like that. And as long as you don't use too much makeup over it, it'll still show through. But I prefer doing the shimmer stuff at the end and not with cream. I use it with like powder shimmer stuff. So the way I do things so that it looks more flawless on camera and not super natural. Like I like things to look very full coverage and very fake. I like the fake look. So I prefer doing all my foundation and contouring, all that stuff, and then putting on a ton of full coverage powder over it. And then that way, you don't even see the foundation, to be honest. When I use so much full coverage powder over it, all you really see is the contour and highlight. You don't really see the foundation underneath everything because of all the coverage. So what makes me get glowy, dewy skin is just adding a little bit of a shimmer powder over it in certain areas to make the skin, like if you do the whole side to side thing, you can kind of see that shine. I'm actually teaching in my next class, I am teaching a bronzing glowy summer makeup tutorial, so I hope you guys watch that. It's in about 5 days, I think. And it's an amazing tutorial. Like, let me tell you, this is the perfect time for me to teach it because it is smack in the middle of summer. And I love that bronze glowing look and without the greasiness of it. I'm going to be doing it primarily with powders. And it's still going to look like her face is wet and glowing, but it's all going to be powders. None of that is going to be with cream. So it'll kind of blow your mind a little bit. So watch that because that will have a lot of the techniques in there too. Paige_Berard is asking, in your opinion, are beauty blenders worth the money they cost, or are there other products that do the same job, if not better, for lesser cost? Beauty blenders are awesome. They were the first in the industry to create that egg-shaped blend or sponge. So I don't want to discredit them at all. I feel like when you're the first to do something and you're the pioneer to create something so big and to shake the industry so well, I would never want to take away business from them. But there are a lot of other cheaper beauty blenders out there, sponges, different shapes, things like that, that are maybe a quarter of the cost. So if beauty blenders are $20, maybe some of these like at drugstores or something could be $5, $10, whatever, which will do pretty much the same job. But there's a lot of background stuff that drives cost, and a lot of it could be also the technology of the sponge. You don't know if that sponge is antimicrobial or if that sponge has a specific porosity in it to not absorb too much or to absorb just enough. There's a lot of different degrees to everything, just like makeup brushes. I could buy a makeup brush for 80 bucks. Which is super soft and luxurious, and I can buy that exact same shaped brush with a very similar hair for $10, but it may not give the exact same effect, but it gets the job done. So that's all I'm saying. There's two sponges out there in the world. One is more expensive and is the trendsetter, and the other one is cheaper duplicate of that. Cheaper product, cheaper cost. Both of them get the job done because primarily it's up to you to use it. So it's your hand, it's your technique. But But it depends on how much of, a product person you are. I'm into name brands, and I'm also into drugstore brands, so I have a healthy mix of both. So that is a judgment call, I would say. Try both and see which one you prefer, if they feel any different. If you don't see any difference, then go with the cheaper one. Why not? Princess Samaraya is asking, have you ever done makeup on an African American? Yes, several times. I actually had a few classes with African American skin tones already, but if you're an All Access Pass member, you can see some of those classes, and there's a lot of really good tips in there. I have a lot of like contour classes on African American. I did eyebrows on African American skin, all sorts of stuff, and I will be incorporating more, of course. I want to do a contest in the near future, maybe for next month. I want to pick a really deep dark skin, like dark skin. I have a lot of African American skin tones that lead up to like the NW50s. But I want someone with really dark skin. I want to show you guys how to correctly do makeup for that type of skin tone as well. So I'll definitely be doing a whole lot more. But yes, if your question is only have I ever done makeup on African American skin, the answer is yes. A gazillion times. Okay, so Samra Katie has obviously seen a lot of my Snapchats. By the way, my Snapchat name is DYF-Tamana, T-A-M-A-N-N-A. Yeah, pretty much. That's my Snapchat name. You can find all my stuff there. I'm always snapping away. My whole day is snapped. So she obviously saw my, I'm saying she obviously saw my snap because she's asking, what do I bake my face with in the car? And sometimes, so I'm not really usually into baking, but when I'm in a hurry and I'm trying to get somewhere and I'm a passenger and I need to do my makeup, I don't carry my whole cream contour stuff with me, so I will contour and highlight with my Anastasia contour kit. So that is my Anastasia contour kit. I highlight heavily, and I don't blend it yet. I highlight heavily with the banana color. Sometimes I'll mix a little bit of the golden peach in there, and then I'll contour with the Havana mixed with fawn. And then I let it sit for a few minutes, and then with a fluffy brush, I just fluff it off. I do that after I do my foundation and my initial powder, my Studio Fix. I put the powder on first. What the baking technique does is it allows your face to just kind of try to absorb a little bit, the oils of your face try to absorb a little bit of that, the color of the powder. Like basically when your oils mix with the powder color, it changes a little bit. It starts to set nicely in your skin. Have you ever noticed that when you freshly do your skin, sometimes it just looks, whoa, too much? And then as the day progresses, maybe 20, 30 minutes later, it starts to look, oh yeah, it's sitting on your skin really nice. So that's the baking process. It just helps to sit on your skin, and it's done with powders. So if you're not using a cream, then do the baking thing if you have time. So when I'm in the car, I usually have at least, 20 minutes of time to kill, so I'll do my makeup and I'll bake for 5 minutes, and then I just fluff it off. But day to day, when I'm doing my makeup with cream or with just regular powder or whatever, I don't really sit there and bake for 5 minutes. Also, when I'm going out for a very, very special event, I'd rather do the cream contour and then my zoning that I do on DYFL. I don't really bake in those situations. I feel like baking, I only do it when I'm not using cream, because for me, the baking almost turns into a little bit of a cream because of the skin. The mixing of the oil absorption, all that stuff. And then when I fluff it off, it's not like just dust flying all over the place. It's actually sat on my skin for a little bit, so it almost looks like I used a cream highlight and a cream powder. Okay, someone's asking, so Razai Atkins is asking, how do you take care of your hair? I am the same race as you. My hair has gotten so damaged, I don't know how to take care of the damaged hair. And I don't know how to fake your damaged hair. Okay. My hair is super damaged. I mean, like, it breaks when I touch it. So I'm actually going in for an appointment, I think, very soon, so I can get all this touched up. I cut off a lot of my blonde because it was just driving me nuts. But you have to limit your heat use, of course. Don't style your hair every day. I set my hair up in a ponytail when I'm working. I worked all day today, by the way. This is why I look like this. I throw my hair up in a ponytail so I don't have to use heat products all the time. Only when my hair is down and I'm trying to go to an event will I use like a heat product, like my tools, and make sure that your heat products are really good quality. My Bombay Hair Tamana set on BombayHair.com is really good quality. And I'm just saying it because it's mine. I would never put my name on something that isn't what I think the best in the market. So if you don't have a good hair tool set that won't damage your hair as much as like other tool sets out there, make sure you invest in something like that. The Tamana set actually has everything. It has the straightener, it has the wand in different sizes, 3 different sizes. It has the heat resistant gloves, it has a heat resistant mat, it has the clips and a warranty. So you can't really go wrong with that, and plus everything is tourmaline, so that's one of the best materials to use for heat products. It doesn't oversaturate the heat in one area and force you to go over and over and over and hold the heat on for too long. It works really quickly. So the quicker a product works, the less time the heat is exposed to your hair, meaning the less damage you get over time as well. And then also my products have this negative ion technology, which basically what it does is as you're curling your hair, it seals your cuticles. Our hair has cuticles, which basically are like little flaps that are open. It's like boom, 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 boom. And when it's really damaged, those flaps are really open. And then when it's not damaged and it's really resistant, then those flaps are tight and it comes, the shaft is closed, the hair shaft. So the negative ion technology, what it does is it prevents the little scales of your hair from opening all the way and to just completely getting frayed and damaged. It actually tightens up the cuticle of the hair, tightens up that whole coil, so that what you look and you feel, what you see and what you feel is smoother hair, and it actually increases the shine, quality, and the bounce of your hair too. So again, BombayHair.com, Tamana set, you'll be good to go for like a really long time, and plus it has that 1-year warranty, so if anything does go wrong, just replace it. All in the house. Okay, so Lorene's25 is asking, help, I just can't get it right with the glitter on the eyelid. I hate that foiled look when I add a little glue. I just want to pretty low on the eyelid. I think there's a little typo. I just want it pretty low on the lid and shadow doesn't do it. I think that's what she's asking. So for just a little bit of glitter on the eyelid, try using, first of all, I don't know what type of glitter you're using. If you're using like actual loose glitter, not pigment, then it won't look foiled. It will look sparkly. So that's one thing. If you're using actual pigment, like crushed pigment from MAC, or small sparkles from MAC that are so tiny that it looks like eyeshadow pigment, it's not going to look like glitter at all. It's going to look like metallic eyeshadow. What you need is actual glitter. So Shop Violet Boss or Eye Candy or whatever, they have actual glitter. And so you just use their liquid or their base with that and just draw it along so that when you're looking at it, it actually looks like sparkle rather than just a shiny eyeshadow. Also, if you're in a hurry, you could always use the Urban Decay glitter liner. It's a little gel liner. It looks like a liquid liner, and it's just like clear gel with a colored glitter in it. So I have most of the colors, but I use the gold one a lot, and I just draw that all over the eyelid. Sometimes if I just want a light sparkle without it looking just like eyeshadow, it looks like a nice glitter. Okay, I know it's 6:26 p.m. We are still waiting on my lovely guest to arrive. He is caught in such horrible LA traffic. So I'm going to continue this Q&A for a little bit. But as soon as he comes in, hopefully we can get this class started. Thank you for your patience. But I think I'm feeling you guys are kind of enjoying this Q&A right now. So I'll just keep going because I love seeing all these comments. So I don't mind if you don't mind. If we want to call this a Q&A session with Tam, that's fine with me. And if Lou gets here in the next few minutes, great. If not, we'll just continue going. Okay. Do we have an ETA on him?
6:30.
5 minutes? Oh, Lord. All right. 5 more minutes or maybe 10. I'll give you 10 more minutes of Q&A because I know there's a lot of questions here that I need to answer. And I'll let him set up. He's going to be here in like less than 5 minutes. I'm going to let him set up. while he's setting up, I'm just going to continue asking or answering some questions so I can give him a minute to like settle down. Poor guy, he must be so frazzled right now. LA traffic is the worst, and we're in downtown LA. This is where we shoot, so I can't really blame the kid. It happens. So while he does all that, I'll answer some questions, and then I'm going to introduce him to you because I think you guys are really going to like him. And if you don't know him already, obviously. And then he can do his magic. And the cool thing is, the reason why I wanted him to do such a soft look is because I do all these like crazy glam looks, like insane Bollywood looks. And it's kind of nice to have someone to do something different to show you guys a different perspective on makeup. And he does a lot of glam on his page. You guys, I've been tagging him. You guys saw his page. He does a lot of glam. But him and I both kind of thought about it and we're like, you know what? Let's do something very summer appropriate. Something light, not too heavy. But still requires a good level of skill. So he's going to show you all of his little secrets on how to do a very professional makeup job, but make it look as natural as possible and as soft as possible. Something very feminine and light and daytime wearable, as well as evening wearable if you just switch the lipstick. It's very easy to go from day to night, as you guys saw in my day to night transformation class a little while back. So let's get back to the questions. Can you do a video on a really pale person? I did, baby. Daughter of Isaac. I did. It was on Dana. It was on Dana from Melt Cosmetics. She has really light porcelain skin. Stunning little Barbie doll she is. And I did her makeup from start to finish. That was the day to night transformation I was just talking about. So if you have All Access Pass, please go back and look at that. That's going to be your like eye-opening experience right there in that class. I'll do more though, obviously. I'm not going anywhere. I'm your teacher for a really long time. So I will definitely do more. Okay. Makeup by Miriam is asking, for extreme oily skin, what do you recommend, liquid or cream foundation? And does powder foundation work well for oily skin, or translucent powder works better? For extremely oily skin, I recommend a liquid, not a cream. I don't want anything creamy on the face. I want everything to be as drying as possible. So first, try that milk and magnesia trick I was talking about. Milk and magnesia all over the face, let it dry, and then put on the makeup. I would recommend I would recommend, God, why am I blanking out? MAC Pro Longwear Foundation. MAC Pro Longwear Foundation is awesome for really oily clients. I put that on all over. It's heavenly. It's not creamy at all. It's just like a thick liquid. And after that, you could put on, the same Studio Fix. I use the same Studio Fix powder for everyone, whether they're oily or not. But if you still get oily with Studio Fix powder, I still wouldn't use translucent powder. I'm not a fan of translucent powder. I don't know how to say this enough. I really don't like translucent powder. So if you're going to use a full coverage powder and if you don't want to use Studio Fix, use another full coverage powder. As long as it's full coverage, you'll be fine. And oil free. So Studio Fix, even though it's not oil free, still works for my oily skin clients because I use so much barrier stuff that it really doesn't matter. But if you need oil free, they have oil free dual finish powder compacts from Lancome. I believe they might have some oil free Estee Lauder Double Wear as well. Probably. Don't quote me on that. A lot of people are asking, wow. Okay. For the next few minutes, I'm going to talk to you about my classes. Because a lot of you are asking about my master classes, the big group things, the big tours that I do. A lot of you are asking about the online certification. And a lot of you are asking about one-on-one in person. It's not even really one-on-one, but it's very private in person. So I'm going to talk to you guys about the difference between the three of those for a few minutes because it gets detailed. So first things first. My tour is insane, and I am coming to, what's next? So I have London coming up next week. After London, we have New York. Detroit, we moved. So we have New York, August 30th weekend, sometime between that Friday and Monday. I have to book that hotel sometime in the next 2 weeks. so we can open up ticket sales for that. So if you're in New York, New Jersey area, I will find a location within the New York, New Jersey area, and I'll make sure that it's convenient for you guys to travel to, and hopefully near an airport. And we will go ahead and announce that in due time. After New York is going to be, is it Detroit? New York is August, September, no, Miami probably. I will get back to you. I think, because everything got switched up, because my whole London experience that went horrible last time with customs and immigration, freaking A, that caused my whole tour schedule to just go out the door and me start all over again. So I will let you guys know when Detroit is. I think Detroit, you're right, I think Detroit is September, and then Miami might be October or November or something. And then Dubai. Dubai is my finale. So excited. So I'll let you guys know in due time about those. All those do get a certification. My clients, no matter what kind of training I give you, whether it's the seminar or whether it's the online classes in the future that we're going to do the certification thing, or I'll talk to you about that in a minute, or whether it's the more private hands-on course, you do get a certificate that will hold strong when you are trying to prove that you're a makeup artist to makeup companies that are offering discounts. As far as how many other proofs that they need, that's up to them. MAC requires 3 different proofs, so certification would count as one usually, but you'd need to kind of do your research and make sure that they would accept something like a certificate to begin with. And we are also working on partnering up with a lot of cosmetic brands to offer straight acceptance for the pro cards for my students. So that will hopefully happen soon. We have a lot of surprises in store. Now let's talk about the online certifications. I know a lot of you were really saddened by the fact that it filled up so quickly. I honestly did not know it was going to fill up that quickly. I was just opening up a window just to see, if anyone wanted to test it in my first test group before we really rolled out the program. And oh my God, everybody signed up like within minutes. It was insane. You guys are just amazing, and I freaking love you. It just makes me feel like I'm doing my job right by making you guys learn so well to the point where you want to do this certification class. It's just so humbling. I can't even put it in words. Thank you. But with that said, a lot of you missed that opportunity because it was just for a couple of hours until the online seats were way overfilled. Here's the thing. I rolled out this program early as a pre-sale, as a special deal to those who want to be a part of my test subjects. These are girls who will be watching those videos, taking the tests, and giving me their feedback as to how everything went, and I'll be monitoring them to make sure that they actually learned everything I taught in the curriculum that I've prepared so far. Now, I need to make sure that everything is 100%. You know me, I am so picky that it took me a year to figure out before my launch with Anastasia Beverly Hills, all those colors in my palette. A year. It's taken me almost a year to launch my eyelashes, which sold out so fast, and now hopefully by next week it'll come back in, the Tamana lashes from Flutter Lashes. It takes me so long to perfect something because I do not want to bring something out to the world that's not 100% amazing. So this group that got in just in time to register for this semester will be taking the class. If you're one of them, the program is starting very soon. Actually, you will be getting an email very shortly from my team explaining what the next steps are. You will be sent a little gift package, which was a part of the promo for you guys to start practicing. You will be given a link to the videos so that you can have those videos and practice as much as you want within a 60-day period. You will then be given a test. I need to make sure that test is really good. So I will be formulating that test based on what I'm seeing you guys create. And once these girls graduate and these boys graduate from this pre-sale section, this testing section of my certification course, and they will be getting certified for being a part of this course. I will make sure that they know their stuff. Then I will revisit this whole program to make sure that everything is fine. So that way, if I've received any feedback of, oh, I wish there was more of this or less of this, or I still don't get this, or I still need a little more help in that, that I can reformulate those classes for you, because I need to make sure, I hope you guys understand this, I'm not there to see you. I'm not there to monitor you. I'm not there to feel your hand and to get you to work the way I'm working and to fully understand my teaching. Only my private students get that type of attention because they're right in front of me and I get to answer their questions one-on-one basically. So this online thing made me really nervous, and that's why I wanted to make sure that I have a test group out now that I can work on and really feel comfortable that yes, all right, they're learning. We're ready to go global now. So that's what we're waiting on, and I hope you appreciate the fact that I am trying to make this the best I can absolutely make this for you. I do not want even one of you to leave my certification program and be like, I didn't learn, beep. You know, I want you guys to really, really understand that being a teacher means the world to me, and having students that actually are taking my work and bringing their own spice into it and creating their own success makes me the proudest person in the world. You have no idea. I consider you guys like my children. You guys are making me so freaking proud. Just on this DYFL, you have no idea. But that's why I'm taking a lot of pride into this certification thing, and if that means that this is going to need more time before it becomes totally public, then I humbly request we'll need more time. But let's see how this first batch goes. If you're in, you're in. Let's see how this first batch goes. It has the promotional pricing as well, so you guys got a good deal. And we'll see how it goes so that I can monitor their success. I can monitor what they've learned and make sure that everything's okay. And then I'll know what I need to tweak before I roll it out to all of you. So I really, really beg for your patience, because this is something that means the world to me, and I don't want to put out anything that's just not 100% the way I want it. So with that said, that's how the certification thing works for that. And that's why there's a delay on it getting to the public, because I really need to test my first group first. I need to get that market research done in an honest way. I have to be ethical about this. I can't just like give certificates for no reason. I need to be ethical, and I need to make sure that you guys are actually learning, okay? So thirdly, my private sessions. I teach 2 students a day, every day, Monday through Thursday. And sometimes I take time off to do my tours. So these are set dates that are in my calendar that I'm filling up. 2 students a day. They bring their models. I have 2 stations. One works on one side, one works on the other side, and we balance our ideas. We ask each other questions, and we grow together. It's always very beneficial to have a partner with you, taking the class with you. And I pair my students based on their amount of experience and their background as well. And I make sure that the students can mesh well together. I'm almost like a matchmaker. I've created a lot of friendships with my students. They're like always in touch. It's really cool. So anyway, that's how I do this. And basically when it comes down to the actual lessons, it's all day. It starts in the morning, it ends in the early evening. There's a good long break in between for you guys to kind of figure some things out and ask some, formulate some questions for me when you come back for part 2. But that's how it works. That is the most expensive way, because that is the highest training I can ever offer, is that private thing. Once I open up a makeup school, and I'm hoping that will happen one day, it's going to be all big group lessons. So this is a time where I and my students can take advantage on really cultivating true talent by in-person trainings and me touching and feeling and making sure everyone's understanding that way. So I hope that also makes sense too, as to why I'm needing more time on the certification before I really release it to everyone. I need to make sure that they're learning the way as if my one-on-one people are learning, or at least as close to it as possible. So those are the 3 tiers on how to get certified by me. Either A, do a workshop certificate with me by coming to one of my tour stops. B, online certification. When it does roll out again, it will probably be after the semester is over. My students need to graduate. I need to monitor them for a while, and then I will let you know when it's going to be available for public. Or C, schedule a time with me here in Los Angeles if you're able to come for that more private environment and high-end training, okay? So without further ado, the handsome Lou is here, so I'm going to give him a few minutes to set up. In the meantime, maybe I can I'm going to get out of the way a little bit. I'm going to I can sit right next to you, right?
No.
I'll introduce him in a bit. I don't want to spoil this. I want him to set up for a second. So I'm going to turn this camera this way. Ooh, yeah, you're going to see me over here now. And I'm going to let him set up. And I'm going to answer a few more of your questions so that he can do his thing. His sister Vanessa is here too. Okay. I'm glad you guys made it safe and sound, by the way.
Yes.
You guys had us worried.
Did we?
Yeah.
I was like on the floor grabbing all my makeup that fell out of the car.
Oh my God. You know, SHIT happens.
It's one of those days.
It happens. Hey, it happens to the best of us. But I just want to make sure that my girls get to meet you and see your work, and we can just kind of have fun.
Yeah,
you know, once I finish these questions, I will pass on the stage to my lovely artist here, and he's going to take over from there. It is going to be a takeover. So then at the end, you ask him questions, and then he's going to answer some stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh my gosh. A gazillion questions here. A gazillion. My phone's about to die, by the way, so. All right. Okay. Maya Kiku is asking, what's the technique and product for large pores? I really like Benefit Professional. I think that's a really cool product. I've tried it on so many of my clients that have oily skin or enlarged pores or even odd texture of their skin, uneven texture, and it worked so well to just smooth everything out before you put on your foundation and your powders and everything. It really, really did a good job. So anything like silicone-based products will really help for that issue. And also you kind of press it in. Don't just wipe it on with a brush. Use your fingers, press it in, and it'll fill in the pore really a lot better than if you were just to wipe it on. A lot of you guys are asking for a mature skin tutorial. Well, guess what, girls? If you see the homepage of JustYourFaceLive.com, you will scroll down and you will see that a mature skin tutorial is coming up. I'm excited, next month. So I'm gonna, make a mature skin model. I know the tutorial says for 30s, 40s, and 50s. I'm gonna choose an older age group. But I did want to talk a little bit about the 30s and 40s age group as well, just so that you guys have an idea of what the difference is with their makeup. Also, I was asked, what's my favorite waterproof mascaras? My all-time favorite waterproof mascara is Lancome Hypnose, and you say it with me because I say it every class, Lancome Hypnose Drama Waterproof. That's my favorite waterproof mascara. Y'all know that if you've been seeing me every week on here. And my favorite non-waterproof is the Benefit They're Real mascara, which I'm wearing today. I'm trying to think what else. I love that makeup_addict has like a gazillion emojis in her question to get my attention. So I will answer your question because of that effort. Why do some artists use wet sponges to apply and blend foundation and wet brushes to apply eyeshadows, especially shimmery shades? Okay, there's a couple questions, so I will answer that one first. When people use wet brushes, it's to create a fuller coverage product. So let's say you're dipping into a dry product, a dry eyeshadow, and you're putting it on. It could have the tendency of dusting right off. When you're using it wet, it almost comes out like a cream. So you can wet your brush, drag over a dry product and create a little bit of wetness and slide it on your eye, and it becomes more like a cream. So it's a little bit more intense, so it's for the intensity, and it's for that fuller coverage application, smooth application. I usually don't do that. I just use dry products that already have a little bit of that. If you guys have ever tried Morphe brushes, palettes, their shimmer palette is so creamy. It's a powder, but it is so creamy that it goes on as if I've wet my brush. So I don't even need to wet my brush when I'm using stuff like that. But why do some artists use wet sponges to apply and blend foundation? Because technically that's how to use a sponge, especially those makeup beauty blenders. I've been talking so much, my throat's getting dry and I'm fasting. That's great. You're supposed to wet a beauty blender, squeeze it out so that it's not like super drenched, and then use that to blend foundation. But what I've noticed that it kind of dilutes the formula of the foundation. I don't like anything diluted. You know me, I like cake on cake. So I go dry If I'm going to use a sponge, I'm going to use it dry. If I'm going to use a brush, I'm going to use it dry. I don't want anything diluted. So, Lou, are we ready?
Yeah,
all right. I'm going to very happily pass my stage on to Lou Flores. Everyone give him a round of applause, the imaginary round of applause since we can't hear you.
Right? I'm
Come
so
on
tall.
in.
I don't fit.
Say hi. Hi.
Hey everybody.
So he finally made it. He's safe and sound. And we are going to let him do his magic.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want you
sister.
guys to do, and he's going to introduce his sister to sit down, and he will come here and tell you what he's about to do. What he'll do is he will explain to you what look he's going to do and what certain products that he's going to focus on.
Right.
And then she's going to sit down. Actually, she can sit down even, before you even talk about it.
Okay. Here, how would you sit up?
Why don't we all introduce her? This is Vanessa, guys. This is the duo of the LB Glam duo. Awesome. Hi. So he's going to explain to you what he's about to do so you guys have a little idea of what's about to happen. And then he's going to do it on her, and he's going to explain step by step very clearly for you guys. He's going to list what products he's using. He's going to talk about the pressure of what he's doing. He's going to basically, as if you guys are blind or something, he's going to say everything so that you guys really understand what he's doing, okay? So that way, in case you did miss anything, you're going to go on his page, on his latest post, which is about the class.
Right.
And you're going to ask questions, or you can ask on my page too if you want to look on my page too.
Okay.
You're going to answer questions at the end of the class.
Okay, cool.
That's how this takeover is going to work. All right? So I will hand off to these beautiful people, and I will say bye. I hope you guys have an amazing class. I'll be watching from my phone. And if you guys have questions, feel free to ask on his page and on mine. And then after they're done with their makeup lesson, he's going to sit down for about 10 minutes and answer some questions for you guys. So have fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hug. So good to see you guys.
You
We'll talk soon.
Okay, sounds good.
Have fun.
I could just put your hair back. So you guys are probably going to see like my chest a lot because I'm so tall. I'm like 6'2", so I'll sometimes get low, but so you guys have a clear picture of Vanessa. Alright, so Vanessa has her face prime. Okay, so the look that we're doing today is we're giving her like a soft, soft smoky eye with like wispy lashes. I'm going to show you guys how to apply individuals onto the lashes to really help accentuate and make your eyes look bigger and more like opened. And then when it comes to the skin, we're going to give Vanessa like a really nice glowy natural look, kind of like what we posted on Instagram. And so Vanessa has her face primed already, so that's the first thing. That's the key thing you want to do. And I like starting with brows. So I'm going to start by using a shadow. And actually, I dropped my stuff before I came, you guys. So my brow palette is actually probably on the floor next to our car. But
Lou's like a amazing makeup artist, so I'm sure he can use 99-cent store makeup and he'll make anyone look
so what I'm going to do is I have this Tarte palette, and I'm going to use 2 of the shadows. Let me lift it up. I'm going to use 2 of the shadows. And I'm going to place the lighter shadow in the beginning of the eyebrow with a brush, and the darker shadow towards the end to define the brows. I'm going to use the Anastasia pencil, the number 12 with the bristle at the end. So let's just get into it. Okay, so we're going to start with the brows. And I'm going to start with, I'm going to use this lighter brown color. Never done this before, but it'll work. It'll look good.
I've done it a gazillion times.
Yeah, I know. It'll look good. So we're going to start by applying the shadow in the beginning of the brows. And it works because the shade is a couple shades lighter than her brow, so it's not going to be too dramatic. It's good to apply lighter shades in the beginning of the brow so that it transitions and it doesn't look as harsh in person. So you're just pretty much filling in the brows, and depending on your brows, like Vanessa has pretty full brows, so I'm just going to go in with a powder just because it's going to give her more of a natural look. But if you guys have any questions on products for brows or your brows, you can just leave them in a comment and then I'll answer them at the end of the video. And then after you fill in the brows and they're full, go in with a bristle brush and just run the brush through the hairs to just blend it in. And see, we're just filling in the brows right now. You don't have to worry about getting them perfect. And then we're just gonna have this turn it over. We're just gonna go in and just do little strokes the direction of the hairs. Just like that. And I'm using the lighter shade, and then I'm using the shade above it at the end of the brow. I'm just going in. Just like that. If you get too much on, all you have to do is use the bristles and just run it through the hair to help diffuse the shadow if you apply too much at one time. And after you're done filling in the brow, just run the spoolie end through the brow, achieving just a natural look. Okay, so now after you do the brows, I'm going to set them with Control Freak by NYX. And this is just going to help keep the product and the brows in place. So you just lightly put it through the brows in the direction you want your brows to go, so that when they set in the way that you want them to. Usually just you comb them the direction the brow hairs grow. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a cream concealer. I use this one. It's by it's N25 by Cover FX. You can use I'm going to lay this under the brow, and then I'm going to apply an eye base on her lid for her shadow. But I kind of like using like cream concealers or cream foundations, and I mix them with the eyeshadow base just so that it's it gives a lot more coverage. So then that way when you apply your shadows, it's a lot more, the colors of the shadows, the payoff is a lot better. So I'm going to add my brush. So I'm just going to use a small concealer brush for this technique. So it's pretty small, it's round, so it's really great for when you're shaping the brows. You can go with the direction of the brows, so that when you're shaping it's a lot easier, that it has like a round end and it's small. So I'm just going to go in the cream concealer, the N25. If your eyeshadow base, depending on what it is, it has good coverage to where you don't need to apply this. You could just apply an eyeshadow base and you'll be fine. So I'm just going to turn your head. So we're going to start by just applying it a little below the brow, so that way you could work the product closer to the brow so you're not getting too much into the brows. And we are just going to shape under her brows and just really define the arc. It's good just to do little strokes. And you're kind of just focusing it on the arc and the shape that you want. So just like that. And then once you do that, I'm going to use Benefit's Stay Don't Stray. I really like this product for the lid. It keeps the eyeshadow in place all day without creasing. So I like just to place this in the crease and then just pulling it down a little. Just like that. And then you're just going to blend that in. So I'm just going to blend that in just like this. You could use your finger to blend it in or a brush. I'm just using a flat brush just to blend it in. And then once you blend it in, you're going to want to go over it with, I like going over it with a shadow, just something that kind of matches your skin tone, so that way when you apply your shadows over the base, it doesn't, your shadows don't stick to it, and it's easier to blend that way. So I'm going to go in with this color. It's like a neutral cream color. It's by the Battle Lash by Saucebox. The color's in vanilla. So any kind of color like vanilla or something that's similar to your skin color will work. So we're just patting that on, blocking it all in place. So just like that. So now we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So after I apply that cream under the brow to kind of give it a good highlight, I'm going to apply the primer in her crease, the Benefit Stay Don't Stray. And I'm just focusing it in the crease, and then I'm going to blend it more down and a little bit higher.
It feels funny.
A little sponge.
Mm-hmm.
Do like patting motions just to blend the product all around. Okay. And then I'm just patting the vanilla eyeshadow on the entire lid, even under the brow. Really you want to mattify the whole area. Just like that. So now that we have her lids ready to go, we're going to start applying shadow. And I'm going to use this Senna crease brush. It's by Senna, and this is the Feather 15 brush. It's really like fluffy, the bristles are really soft, so it makes it super easy to apply shadow and blend. And I'm actually going to go in with this Tarte palette, the Poppy Picnic palette, and it's kind of like a really soft, like walnut kind of brown color. Just as like it's going to be kind of like, it's going to play as a transition shade for this look. It's kind of going to pull in all the colors together. And you're going to want to focus this in the crease. And it's good when you're applying the shadow to kind of, when you're applying the shadow in your crease, follow the shape of the brow a little bit to help give you like a guideline. Instead of just doing like windshield wiper motions, you could just, you know, make sure you stay like under the brow shape. But if you want, you can definitely go a little bit higher. Just don't get too close to the brow because you don't want to connect the shadow to the brow. You still want to keep that highlight from the color, the base that we laid down. So you're just kind of doing swirling motions and you're staying below the brow. You're just blending around it like that. And if you want to apply a little more product, just go back in with just a little bit of product. It's always good to start off with less than too much because then it's harder to blend out. So we just want to keep blending that. I'm gonna add a little bit more right there and connect it a little bit more. Just in the middle. And then we're just going to blend it more towards the inside. Yeah, just like that. Just make sure, if you want to just blend it, if you feel like it looks too harsh and it doesn't look blended, you could either use a towel or you can use like a color swatch. They call it color switch. I don't know why I call it a color swatch, but you can go in and you can kind of remove the color off of the brush so that when you want to go back to blend, you're not like adding more powder or more color. You're just kind of like diffusing any harsh lines that you may have in your crease area. So when you clean the brush, it's just diffusing the product and the shadow that you already have on your eye. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing to the other eye. So we're just going to go in and apply this color in the crease. So just follow the brow bone, follow your crease bone that's right next to your crease. You can feel it when you're blending. Look to the camera. See how we blended this to the shape of her brow, so we're kind of building it up on this side. And all you have to do is just keep going back and applying more product till you get like the desired effect that you want. And make sure you guys, when you guys are blending, after you guys blend, always look in the mirror and see like the way it looks, just so that you guys know, you know, just like how it's going and the look that you want to do. We're creating just a base for our other shadows here, but sometimes you can keep adding and adding, and then when you look, it's already like, it might be too much, you know, so you just kind of want to just be a little careful. So we're just focusing the product in the crease. And then we're going to take a look at it. We're going to put a little bit more towards the middle. Okay. I think the lighting might be a little bit more brighter on this side, but they're pretty even, I think. Right?
Mm-hmm. That's my room.
I'm like, what do you think, Vanessa?
Good. Look closer. My eyebrows are uneven, so it's like
Yeah,
a little bit different.
if your brows, yeah, we'll get to the brows like next after, but yeah,
Naturally they are.
yeah, like if your brows, if they're uneven, you could always apply more shadow, to one side. Vanessa knows her eyebrows like nobody else because she does her eyebrows. Okay, so I'm going to apply more shadow in this one, right? Which one's higher?
This one right here.
That one's higher, right?
It's weird. I don't really know. This one kind of goes in
Oh, okay,
more,
I
and then
see.
this one naturally just kind of has enough hair.
I see. So
And the other one is a little lighter
this
on
brow,
the top.
yeah, this brow
It goes
has more
on the
hair
top.
on the top right here.
Yeah, so
it's
I
a little
just
more
fill in.
fuller than this one. So if you see that, like, even after you're doing your eyebrows, you could always go back and apply a little bit more shadow to even the brows out. You can cheat up a little bit, or you can cheat a lot. If you need to cheat a lot, I would recommend using like a brow gel or something with a thicker consistency, because the areas that you don't have no hair, it's going to be a lot more visible to tell like where you applied the product than if you used a powder. That looks a lot better, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So now after we put down the crease shadow, we're going to go over and apply a shadow at the end. I'm going to grab my brush. So I'm just going to use like a flat bristled round brush, and this is what I'm going to apply the shadow at the end of her eye look. So we're going to apply a more warmer color. So I'm going to use this color here, and it's like a soft brown. So it's a really good color just to build up the look. So we're going to be applying this towards like on the lid, half on the end. How am I saying? I don't know. I'm getting my words all like clustered. Okay, so we're gonna apply this on this side of the eye, on the right side. So the outer corner. We're gonna apply this warmer shade, and we're just gonna pat it on. Just like that. So you guys want to make sure that you don't go too high into the crease. You just want to apply this just on the lid, on the outer corner lid. So now we're going to do the other side. And we're just patting. So just like that. So we're just going to focus this color on the outer corner of the lid and towards the middle, and just making sure that we don't apply the shadow too high into the crease. And if you guys want to apply this color and you want to blend it out, it's good to apply it on the lid and then blend it out with the crease brush that we were just using. So then that way you're not getting too much color everywhere, and it's easier to just blend out so you don't get any harsh edges. So now just go back in with that same crease brush we were using, and then we're just going to diffuse the outer crease. Just like that. Yeah, just like that right there. And we're going to go back on this side, and we're going to blend. We're pretty much blending around where you apply the product. You're just focusing it more on the crease. Just like that. Okay, so now we're going to go along the lash line. And instead of applying a liner, we're going to apply a shadow, and we're going to blend it along her lash line. This is going to give more of a less harsh line on the top of her lash line. So I'm going to go in with this black shadow right here. You can use any black shadow you guys have. And you're just going to want to focus this on the lash line. So you're just going to close your eyes, and you're just going to apply this on the lash line. And just focus it on the lash line. Or look this way, and then just look down to the side. Yep. There we go. So just like that. So when you have it on, once you apply it, you're going to want to go back in and diffuse it a little bit more, just kind of how we did it in the crease and on the lid. So once you apply it, you're going to go in with like kind of like a small, like it's similar to like a crease brush, but it's just like a lot smaller, and it's round, and the bristles are soft, so it's easier to diffuse the product. So we're just going to go in the crease, and we're going to do little swirling motions. Just like that, just to break up the shadow. I'm going to apply another shade in her outer crease. It's going to be a dark brown shade, this color right here, just to add more depth. So we're just going to apply this with your flat brush. I'm just using the end of the brush to just pat it on. And I'm going to bring it about halfway. Just like that. And I'm going to go in with my little round bristle brush, and I'm just going to kind of blend the shadows in like that. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to go in with the black on the lash line. So just like that. So you're just going to go right on the lash line. And we're going to go in with that dark brown shadow. This one right here. And we're just going to apply this to the outer corner, kind of diffusing it into the black shadow that we just put down. just like that. And I'm going to kind of blend it out a little bit. So just like that. Now after you apply all those colors, I'm just going to go back in with this warm tone brown, and I'm just going to blend everything kind of together and just go in case I missed anything. I'm just going to blend it all together. So just like that. Okay, now to have a pop on the lid, I'm gonna go in with this Urban Decay Space Cowboy. It's kind of like, it's an eyeshadow, but the way I like to apply this is with like, you could use any type of like setting spray just to help like, you know, enhance like the pigment of the shadow. So I like to just apply it on my finger. So I'm just gonna use a setting spray. I'm just gonna spray it on my finger. So you're just gonna have your finger a little wet with it, and then you're just gonna dab it on her lid. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go in with the product with your finger and just kind of tap it, and then this is what it looks like. It's just a really pretty shimmery shadow, and we're just going to pat that on. And it's fine if you get it kind of over what you already put down, because everything that we pretty much did was blend, so we kind of blended everything out. We're not really laying down like a liner and, you know, everything like that. We're kind of just blending everything together. So when you just apply this on top, it's just gonna like kind of enhance the look and add like a pop. So I'm just gonna apply it to the side too. And you don't want to apply too much, just a little bit. You just want it to grab the skin and stick. So just like that. It gives like the lids more of a shimmer. If you guys apply it a lot, you can get it to look kind of like wet, almost kind of like if the lids had like a kind of like a wet type of look. Okay, so perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my makeup wipes. Should we bring those in? Let me get a tissue. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, guys. So, we're just gonna continue. Okay, so after we apply the shadow, now we're gonna go under the eye and we're going to apply your base. She already has her primer on, so now as we're doing that, we're just gonna kind of transition down. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna apply like a little base under her eyes. I like using the Stay Don't Stray under your eyes. It helps with creasing. So we're gonna use this under the eyes. And then I'm going to use some of this Banana Cream Concealer by Anastasia. It's in the medium palette, and I'm gonna mix this with another product, the Creamy Concealer by LA Girl. I'm gonna mix those on this tray right here. I'm just gonna put both of them here. I'm gonna mix them, and then we're just gonna apply them to her skin.
Is it a little disease?
I'm going to show you guys what I'm mixing right now. So after you apply them, I'm just going to mix them a little bit, and then we're going to apply them onto her skin. And I'm going to be using a Real Technique brush to do this. It's the contour brush, but I like to use it to blend like the highlight and just blend kind of everything. I use this brush for everything. So once you have your products mixed together, then we're just going to start by applying it under the eye in all the areas that you want to highlight. Okay. So once you grab the product, if you have too much, just go back on either your wrist or your hand or wherever you have the product and get rid of any excess. Okay, so we're just gonna apply this under the eyes. Just like that. Just so we're pretty much applying this under the eyes, a little on the forehead, down the nose, around the nose, and around her mouth, anywhere that you want a little bit more of a highlight, more coverage. I like to do tapping motions. Just like this. So just like that. And if you want, you guys could use a beauty blender too. I like to use a beauty blender for this, but my beauty blender is probably on the side of my car, so it's fine because you could still use like this brush or whatever you guys like to use just to blend everything out. So after I apply the highlight, I'm just going to kind of keep it in place, and I'm going to apply a cream foundation. I'm going to apply the RCMA to her skin. It's just a light foundation. She doesn't need a lot of coverage. Depending on the coverage that you want, this is kind of more of a soft, more of a natural look. So I'm not using a heavy foundation. So this is the SH1 color. So it's their lightest color. So we're just going to apply that everywhere we didn't really apply the highlight, but what you're going to do is kind of just blend it into it. And if around your eye, a good little tip to create just like a nice diffused clean line is just use like a smaller bristle, it's smaller and it's a little bit flatter than this brush. It's a Real Technique brush as well, and it's the setting brush, but I like it because it really just diffuses the product, and it makes it look really clean and seamless. Turn your other side. See, just like that. Brushes that are more fluffy are going to give you more of a diffused and flawless look rather than if they're bunched together. And this brush is good, so it's small, you can go around closer, you can get closer to your eyebrows. So it's good just to blend it all in. And I'm going to do this side. And I'm just going to shape the direction. I'm kind of just going angled up into her hairline.